on meeting minutes for some
Okay,
time.
fine.
Oh yeah,
All right.
yeah, it's
That's fine.
nothing. If we did that, would be this would be the first time since COVID that we actually did the vote on minutes.
Okay. So fine, we'll skip that part and we'll get right to the chairperson's report. And I'll say that good evening again to everyone, and thank you for coming to the meeting. And this is my last meeting as chairperson. I will remain on the board till the end of my current term, and then I'll decide what I will do after that. I would like to say it's been a long time, longer than I thought it would have been. I thought 2 years ago my term had ended, and that was going to be that. But things came up, and here I am again. But this is the last time that I will definitely be chair on this board. It is certainly time for some fresh ideas, new ideas. Some may be better, some may not be, but it is time for change. And Marilena will do an excellent job as chair, I'm sure, and her executive board will help her. And I hope they do help her as much as they can, because it is important that you get an executive board that will support you in your adventures. Uh, I don't know when we will have a regular board meeting again where we sit in a room with each other, perhaps sometime next year or the year after. And at that time, things will seem somewhat more normal than what we have had. I would like to say that out of all the city agencies that I've dealt with, the one agency that seems to bother me the most is the Department of Traffic, and I'll tell you why. Aside from the bike lanes, which I still don't think they are in the right places where they should be, and I don't think they're used nearly enough for what they said they were going to be used for. We have motorized bikes now, which, and we have motorized scooters and other things, which I guess will use those bike lanes at some point now. But when I objected to the bike lanes on Queens Boulevard, I was told that those bike lanes would be going all the way up Queens Boulevard to Hillside Avenue. Those bike lanes do not do that. They stop at Yellowstone Boulevard on Queens Boulevard. And I'm not surprised by that, because I just couldn't imagine those bike lanes going through Forest Hills, Kew Gardens, gobbling up parking spaces as it would have, and that would have been the end of that. Well, it's not the end of that. And from the plans that I have seen, the bike lanes will never go through Queens Boulevard, through those community boards that I just mentioned. Uh, they will have bike lanes, but they won't be on Queens Boulevard in some cases. At least that's the current plan. So I know some of the bike advocates have been saying, where are those bike lanes that are supposed to go up Queens Boulevard? Well, from what I've seen, that may never happen. So that's my big gripe with the DOT, the way they claim that, this thing was going to work out, and it was the best thing for everyone, and it was going to go where it should have gone maybe, or it's not going to go. But other than that, that's the only thing I have to say tonight here. And we will continue the meeting with Christian. Are you ready? I guess Christian's not ready.
You're muted. Christian, you're muted.
Oh, mute me?
No, Christian was muted.
Oh, he's okay. No. All right. Okay. He's not ready.
He's just arranging. Yeah, he's just arranging his.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm here. Yeah,
No problem.
I'm using my phone instead of my laptop tonight. Sorry about that.
No problem. I'm doing the same thing you're doing.
Good. Yeah, I think a lot of us are. So yeah, Lou, I'm good to go if that's okay. So
Okay, yes, you can certainly go.
good evening, excuse me, good evening, everybody. I'll start, of course, by reflecting who said. Lou, I can't see you right now, but if I had you in front of me, I would say, you know what, thank you so much for all the years I've worked with you. You have a lot of years doing this together. I haven't worked with the chair as much as I have with you. Lots of ups and downs rather, but you did bring up a very good point in that there is a very strong executive committee behind you. Or rather behind Marilena, as it was behind you. The executive committee has remained exactly the same. It's not so much about how strong the chair is; it's about the chair, the vice chair, the second vice. It's the full committee, and you guys have an excellent slate. I've heard some of the ideas. There were a lot of ideas that we've been trying to get moved on for the last couple of years, and we haven't been able to for several reasons. But the idea is that it's a very active committee. It's a very proactive committee. A lot of positive ideas. And they've been very supportive of everything we've done thus far, and I think that tradition will continue. So congrats to the new committee, to Marilena as our new chair, and I believe she's going to be chairing at least half of this meeting. And Lou, really, on behalf of myself and the staff, we already spoke about this. Just really thank you for all the years. CB4 could not be where it was today without you, and really thank you for that. So now, as far as CB4 reports, yeah, it's been somewhat of a dead month, I have to admit. We had a couple of tree lightings. I won't discuss every single one of them because I'm pretty sure the elected officials will join us at some point to do that on their own behalf. Um, I was fortunate enough. I was unfortunate to not be able to attend all of them, but actually my cold because I just I just read the word issue off my screen. I just came in from the Elmhurst tree lighting, which is actually very well attended. Congratulations to the Elmhurst crew for yet again bringing a wonderful tree lighting. The ambulance corps was there. We were honored by Catalina Cruz, who also joined, and several committee members. James McInerney was there. We did the usual reading of The Night Before Christmas. Lots going on, socially distant, and it was an excellent event for what it was. Um, I mean, it's we're hanging in there. There's not really much going on with the board, guys. I'm sorry, I'm getting but yeah, as you guys know me, I like to report throughout the night as items pop up. Tonight will be one of the first nights that the board is seeking an actual formalized vote on some items. Up until now, we've been just kind of getting away with just giving advisory, not necessarily doing formal votes. But God willing, if we have a quorum tonight, it'll be the first time that we'll actually have a formalized vote. So bear with us. It's our first time trying something like this. Um, and yeah, guys, again, I'd much rather report throughout the night versus an actual report to bog down the meeting. And again, Lou, again, just above all else, just thank you for all the years that you've given us. All right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Christian. And with that, I will open session one. There's nothing for me to read, I don't think. And if there was, I couldn't see it anyway. Now I'm not on my computer. But I will start with the board members, and I'll read your name, and you can unmute them, Christina, as you know that they're there.
Okay.
Lucy Cesar Scully.
Not here.
Okay. Charo Chung Chin.
Okay, he's here. Mr. Chen, you're unmuted.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
No. You can speak now, Mr. Chen. You can speak now.
Yeah, it's now. I can see it. Yes.
Do you have anything you want to say to the board?
Yeah, I'll just say everybody keep safe and be happy and do whatever you wanted to do. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chin.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's move on to Yi Chin.
Yes, he is here. Andy?
Yes, I'm here. Hi guys. Just nothing to report. Just you know, try to have everybody stay safe. The second wave of COVID is coming back, and stay safe, stay healthy. That's what I'm trying to say. And happy holidays to everybody.
Thank you. David Chung.
Good evening, everyone. Wishing everyone a warm and pleasant holidays.
Okay, thank you. Linda Corral.
Yes, Linda is here.
Hi there. Happy holidays to everyone.
Okay, thank you. Lorena Diaz.
Good evening, everybody. Happy holidays.
Thank you. Michelle Dunstan.
She was here earlier, but I don't see her now.
Okay. Aria Espanol.
Ari?
Oh, sorry. Happy holidays, everyone. I just want to thank Lou Walker. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for doing all you do. I've known you since I've started my career, and it was a pleasure serving the board while you were there. So happy holidays, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Aria. Marolina Giampino.
Hi, everyone. Yes, I'm here. I just want to say happy holidays to everyone. Merry Christmas for all who celebrate, and Happy New Year. Hopefully, you all have a nice, healthy New Year coming up. And also, Lou, this is your last meeting, so I hope you have a good time. And we thank you all for your service to this board. And we'll see you, of course, as a regular board member, but we're gonna miss you as our chairperson. Thanks, Lou.
Thank you. Christina Gonzalez.
No, I don't believe Kristen is here.
Kristen, sorry. Yes, Gonzalez.
No.
Vincent Losella.
No, he's not. He's not here.
Okay. James Lisa.
No.
Salvatore Lombardo.
No.
Carol Mochulski.
Yes, she's on via telephone. Give me 1 second and I will unmute her. Carol, you're unmuted.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I have a question and then an observation. I'd like to know if we have any stats on homeless persons residing in our district. Do we? Silence. I guess the answer is no.
Well, I'm not sure. I'll be honest with you. Good question. I'm not sure. They're probably.
We
probably have to find them. Yes.
Well, the thing is that I've seen.
Go ahead. I'll let you.
This summer, I did see one man that was literally camped out for quite a while on a fire hydrant at 57th Avenue and 99th Street.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was gone, so I guess somebody came and moved him elsewhere. There's also been someone using a doorway on the wall of the Walgreens that's located at Broadway and Corona Avenue. I thought there was somebody living in a pop-up tent in that doorway. Turned out that it was a pop-up storage facility because someone opened it up and scattered everything on the sidewalk. And that made me think about how many homeless do we have residing in our district?
Okay. So what I can answer is this really quickly is that while I may not be able to get them specifically for this district around this time every year, it's usually actually around, I want to say like mid to end of January, there's something called the Hope Count, and that's the homeless population estimate, something like that, and that's due now. You could certainly check the results for the Hope Counts for the 2020, but the 2021 obviously hasn't taken place yet. I can certainly try to find out how many we have with our district, and I'm guessing those numbers would not necessarily come from the Department of Home Services, but perhaps from Breaking Ground. Breaking Ground, they have their own operation going, and we have a very good relationship with Alejandra Magaña over there, who and maybe Gregory can speak to this. We did a recent walk of the entire of a pretty heavy section of Elmhurst, and we were devastated over just how much was out there. But I can't give you exact numbers, but I certainly feel that those numbers can be.
Even a guesstimate would be fine. I'm like I said, I only noticed because I really haven't gone in the subways since my accident, and there used to be at least 2 men living in the subway on Grand Avenue. I don't know what the story is now, but it's seeing the other evidence of homeless people in that I've passed. I wondered how many there are in the district. Are they just invisible, and we only see evidence of their carts or whatnot piled up in one place? It was just a thought that I wondered how we're dealing with it.
I will certainly put every effort I have. I don't think it's gonna be a very difficult thing to do. The truth is this: either the number exists or it doesn't, and we're definitely good at finding numbers. That's for sure. So I don't want to put a time frame on it, but give me at least until the end of the week. Maybe it's as easy as searching it tomorrow, and I may be able to get you something. And I don't know if it'll come from just one source. You know, I think between Breaking Ground and Homeless Services and the Hope Count, we can come up with something. But I'll certainly send something your way. Thanks.
Okay, the last thing is an observation. Looks like sanitation is getting their trucks out and making sure that they're in working order, because I passed 2 salt spreaders today, and they're all with their plows on the front and everything. So I guess they're doing a run through, which is fine. I'm all in favor of the equipment being in working order when we do get a snowstorm. And that's all I have to say at the moment.
Thank you, Carol. I will say that there are definitely hundreds, possibly could be 1,000 in this whole area, because remember, the district has at least 150,000+ people. So I would say at least hundreds for sure. I've seen many myself, so I've counted. But yeah, there are quite a few, more than maybe people think there are. Put it that way.
Then I guess I'm at.
Go ahead.
Maybe I'm at a part of the district that doesn't see many of them. Maybe they congregate more toward the northern part of the district.
That's quite possible, yes. All right. Next, Sunil Mahat, please.
No, I don't see him on.
Okay. Patricia Martin.
No.
Sylvia Martin.
No.
Matthew Nakanroy.
Yes, Matt is on.
Okay.
Matt, you're unmuted.
Thanks, Christina. I want to join people in thanking Lou for his service. I greatly appreciate anyone who can run a tight meeting, and Lou does. I also agree with Lou on a bike question, which I hope Lou is sitting down. I also feel strongly. Say that again, Lou. I'm sorry.
No. I didn't say anything. I actually laughed, and I am sitting down, but we can certainly agree on some things. Go ahead.
I agree that the bike should go on to Hillside Avenue. Beyond that, nothing to say. Happy holidays to everybody. And Ravinia, whom I phoned earlier, is not feeling well and not joining us tonight, but told me to say to everybody, happy holidays. I'm out.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you. And I will go to Edgar Moya next.
Let me see. He did say he was going to be calling in. Let me see if he's called in yet. No, he's not in yet.
Okay. Ruby Muhammad.
No.
Sandra
Michelle Dunstan is here now, though, if you want to go back to Michelle real quick.
Oh, yes. Michelle Dunstan is here, you said?
Yes.
Okay, let's go back to Michelle Dunstan.
I heard y'all calling my name and you could not hear me. So I'm so thankful. I wish I sat under you a little longer, but I had been coming to the meetings many years before I was able to be a part of the board for it, and we will miss you. And thank you for your service. Happy holidays to everyone. God bless. Be safe.
Thank you. Ruby Muhammad?
No.
Okay. Sandra Munoz?
No.
Gurut Singh Narula?
No.
Regina Oliver?
No, I don't see her.
Alexandra Owens?
Yes. She is here. Alex, you're unmuted.
I don't have much to say, but everybody happy holidays, and thank you, Lou, for your service. It's been a pleasure working with you these past 2 years.
Thank you.
Lou, can I just jump in really quickly? How many years exactly have you been on? Is it 21 now?
How many years on the board?
No, I mean as chair.
As chair, I'll say it's probably 14 of the last 18, something like that.
Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you. Cool, thank you.
right. Alexa Ponce,
I don't think I saw her. No,
Rupinder Raj,
no.
Ashley Reed.
Yes, Ashley is here. Ashley, you're unmuted.
Thank you, Christina. And just to echo what everyone else said, happy holidays to everyone. I hope everyone's gonna, be safe and enjoy the season. And thank you to Lou. Thank you for all your years of service. Thank you for your guidance. Thank you for the wisdom that you imparted on all of us. And we will miss you. Thank you for what you've done.
Thank you. Oscar Rios.
Don't think I saw him. No,
Okay. Neil Roman,
no.
Kristen Romero,
Yes, I did see Christian. Christian, you're unmuted.
Thank you, Christina. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Nothing major to report. I wish everyone a Happy New Year. Thanks.
thank you. Fernando Ruiz,
No.
Clara Salas.
Yes, I did see her.
Can you hear me now, Christina?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good. Happy holidays for everyone, and a happy new year. I know we are going to miss your leadership, that's for sure. We're all going to miss it.
Thank you.
Thank you for all your years of service as the chairperson of Community Board Forum. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Clara. Lucy Chilero,
Yes, Lucy is on. Give me 1 second. Lucy, you're unmuted.
Okay. Hi, Lou. I just want to state that we go back many years.
Yes,
and and we have a lot of knowledge behind those years. And even though I've you know me, I've always wanted you to stay on. And I do believe that there are times we have to move forward. But just remember, our knowledge could be of great help to all those that are coming in now that don't know the history that you and I went through. So I hope you think about that and stay with us a little longer as a board member. I appreciate all the work and patience you had all these years. It takes a lot to do that when you are a chair. And for everyone else, happy holidays, and may the new year bring the best for all of us. That's it.
thank you, Lucy. A. Red Sevilla.
Yes, Red is on.
Thanks, Christina. Happy holidays to everybody. Hope you guys have a good one in the coming weeks. Lou, I want to add to some of the sentiment that was already offered. Thank you for the service to the community. Really appreciate all the energy that you put in, especially the use of that gavel. If there's one thing I took comfort in, Lou, is that you will not let a meeting get out of hand, and there's a comfort in that, knowing that there is a strong presence that can keep things going. So I wanted to thank you just for the service that you've demonstrated toward Corona. So thank you. And then just an observation and a suggestion for me. An observation is that we no longer start off with crime statistics, which I think is fantastic. I was never a fan of starting off with crime statistics. I think that's backward. A suggestion is that maybe in the coming months, we can start off with service statistics. If each of us gets a chance to just share a little bit, maybe each person can just celebrate somebody's service that they saw in the past month, just as a way of highlighting the great things that happen in our neighborhoods. For instance, today, again, I want to celebrate Greg and Christian for just walking the streets and checking out what's happening in terms of the homeless condition. So just things like that, just I celebrate the community fridges that are popping up in Elmhurst and Corona, where people can freely drop off food and people can freely pick up food. If there are 30 people on this call, imagine 30 highlights of the past month about the neighborhood that we're in. So just a suggestion. Again, God bless you guys. Happy holidays.
Thank you, Red. Alton Derek Smith.
Hello, everyone, and happy holidays. Lou, you put so much into what you do until thanks just doesn't seem to be enough. I think what Red was saying, a celebration in what you have done. And God bless you in your new endeavors. And we'll talk later. Take care.
Thank you. Gregory Spock.
So I'll take the teacher's approach here by sandwiching the disappointing news in between two good things. So first off, to echo everyone's sentiment here, Lou, thank you for your service and for leading this board. Definitely not an easy job, and you did it with style and grace. So thank you. My disappointing news is I continue to see a massive disconnect between city agencies and the community board, and I'll speak more to the parks related issues for my committee report. But to cite something recently, is sort of related to what Lou was saying about the bike lanes. I actually see pedestrian safety as something that's a huge concern for me now that my 2.5-year-old Austin is walking and largely running everywhere. So, I've brought up this intersection that's right by the hospital, which obviously is seeing more and more, traffic in terms of people at the hospital, people lined up for the hospital for COVID tests. But the intersection, of 79th Street and 41st Avenue there, there's really no clear signage on what cars are supposed to do. To cite a few examples, this was a few years ago, but my wife was almost killed by a car when she was pregnant. That same intersection has now, almost 3 years later, nothing has been done. And, the response that we keep hearing on certain things is, we'll look into it, we'll find something, and, we need answers sooner. So that's all I'll say about that. And lastly, thank you everyone for your service to this board. I'm honored to serve as your Parks Chair and on the executive board for another term here, and have happy holidays and a joyful new year.
Thank you, Gregory. Dewan Tariq.
Let me see. I don't think so. No, he's not on.
Marcello Testa.
No.
Isadora Baccarella.
No.
Rosa Wong.
No, she's not on.
Minwen Yang.
Yes, she's on. Minwen, you're unmuted.
Okay. I just want to wish everyone a happy holiday and stay safe and healthy. I hope to see you guys next year in person. I'm really looking forward to it.
Okay. Thank you, Minwen. We will continue the meeting with the elected officials. I will start with the U.S. Senate, Charles E. Schumer. Anyone here representing him?
No. Lou, I should also let you know that Jessica Gonzalez Rojas, the Assembly member elect, is in the meeting at the moment.
Oh, okay, thank you. Kristen Gillibrand?
No.
Okay, from the House of Representatives, Representative Grace Ming.
Yeah, Christian is here. Christian, you're unmuted.
Thank you again, Christina. Hello, everyone again. Not much to report on behalf of the Congresswoman's, and she did ask me to wish everyone happy holidays, a happy new year. Remind everyone that we will always be available as the cases around the state and the country continue to go up. We remain easily accessible. I hope by now, I trust by now everyone has my direct number, but feel free to reach out if you don't. If you have any questions, concerns, if you see something, if you're unsure, please just let us know. We're happy to help. We're happy to point you in the right direction. So on behalf of the Congresswoman, happy holidays, happy new year, and thank you.
Okay, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Let me see. No, I don't see her usual person. If anyone is representing elected official, please message me in the chat so I can know you're here. I do not see her usual rep.
Okay, thank you. We will move on and come back to the rep if they come. Brian Barnwell. New York State Assembly. I should first announce the New York State Assembly, Brian Barnwell.
No.
Okay. Michael Dendecker.
No.
Okay, at this time, we will let the elected person who's taking his place speak.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jessica Gonzalez Rojas. I'm excited to be the member-elect for the 34th Assembly District, which includes the neighborhoods of Jackson Heights, East Elmhurst, Corona, and Woodside. So I just want to send greetings, wishing everyone a happy holidays. I start officially on January 6th, and I'm building a team. And I'll look forward to working very closely with this board in order to make sure that we have folks that will work very closely with the members and be part of any activities that you require our presence. So super excited to partner and look forward to working together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeffrey,
congratulations, Lou, for your tenure, and congratulations to Christian for his leadership.
Okay, thank you. Jeffrey on Aubrey.
No.
Catalina Cruz.
Alex?
I don't have too much to report, but I just want to announce that on Thursday we have a flu shot that's going to be happening at the office. Flu shot drive, sorry, between 10 and 12. We're going to continue the community cleanups starting sometime in January, most likely. And we're wrapping up a resume building drafting project where we solicited volunteers to help members of the community be able to build their resumes. While we are wrapping up, if there are people who need resumes drafted, feel free to call owensa@nyassembly.gov, and we'd be happy to help. Have a safe and happy holidays.
Thank you. From the New York State Senate, Michael Janaris.
No.
Jessica Ramos.
Not that I can see.
Toby Ann Stavisky.
No.
Okay, from the mayor's office, Jessica Shabutsky.
Yes, she is here. Give me 1 second to add her in. Okay, Jessica, you're in.
Hi, folks. I have a couple of things to highlight. One, the mayor announced the NYC LMI storefront loan via the Department of Small Business Services. This is targeting certain zip codes, low to moderate income zip codes, including for phase 2 of this program, 11368 in Corona and 11373 in Elmhurst. The applications can be submitted starting December 14th for those zip codes. And what this includes is the eligibility to apply for a zero interest loan of up to $100,000. And the criteria for these businesses is that they employ between 2 and 99 employees and have had business operations since or before January 1st, 2018. And again, specifying those two zip codes, 11368 and 11373. For more information, you can go to nyc.gov/storefront loan. Secondly, just wanted to highlight that we've seen an increase in COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations throughout New York City. When we were in the higher midst of the pandemic over the summer, the city had announced its plan to maintain a 90-day stockpile of PPE, and we have now amassed 150 pieces of that personal protective equipment to maintain that stockpile. The Department of Health Commissioner had issued an advisory that adults over 65 and people with underlying health conditions should limit their activities outside the home and avoid public spaces gatherings. This, as we are now looking at what is presumably the last tail end of this pandemic. We've been working with the state in discussions of how we're going to roll out the COVID-19 vaccines, which have now been approved by the FDA. We expect the first Pfizer shipment as early as December 15th. And if Moderna also is approved, that shipment will be a week later on the 22nd. So we're working on focusing on the populations with the greatest need, including high-risk healthcare workers, nursing home residents, people who work in our nursing homes, the 27 neighborhoods that were most deeply affected by the coronavirus, including Corona, and folks who live in public housing. We've been building out capacity for ultra cold storage and special freezers that will be needed as infrastructure to support the vaccine rollout. And we've been figuring out kind of the different infrastructure pieces that we'll be using to support that effort, including the citywide immunization registry to monitor inventory and administration to make sure that everyone gets both doses administered. And I would just like to wish everybody a happy holiday, but ask that folks please not travel, as we are asking that folks not travel this holiday season to minimize the spread. Thank you.
Jessica, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Is it true that New York City will not demand that its employees of various agencies such as the police department, EMS, the fire, and so forth and so on, will not demand that they take the vaccine once it is available?
At this time, no.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The New York City Council, Francisco Moya.
Yes, there is one person here. Give me 1 second. Bernice, you're unmuted.
Hi, good evening, everyone. It's Berenice. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about past events. So on November 21st, our office kicked off a turkey giveaway event. It was in East Elmhurst, and it was the first one. We collaborated with multiple organizations, both at the local and city level. In total, we had around 4 events, and we gave around 1,000 turkeys. So that was fantastic. We also had a flu shot event with Elmhurst Hospital and First Baptist Church. Yesterday, we actually had a tree lighting ceremony with Al Pertner, the president of 110th Community Council. And this past weekend, we had the unveiling of our winter installation, which was created by local artist Jasenia Calle from the Ecuadorian Civic Committee of New York. It was located at William F. Moore Park. Unfortunately, I don't like to use this word. It was vandalized over the weekend. However, it's currently being fixed. So hopefully we'll post soon on social media once it's back up and open to the public where people can take pictures safely. As the council member likes to say, it's better than Rockefeller Center. It's truly a wonderful spectacle to see. So we do have upcoming events. We will have upcoming toy distribution events. We are always, of course, currently finalizing the details for the flyers. So please check our social media regularly and look out for the flyer with the information. As always, if you have questions or concerns, please feel free to call our office at 718-651-1917. I'll be posting my email in the chat because it's quite long. And lastly, on behalf of Councilmember Francisco Moya and his team, we wish you all a joyous, safe, and happy holidays.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Daniel Drum.
Yes, we have Kelly Wu. Kelly, you're unmuted.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. So like Christian said earlier, our office hosted a tree lighting event earlier today. We're in partnership with Assembly member Carolina Cruz's office. I wasn't at the event, but I heard that Christian said it has a good turnout, which is good. And then from our office, there's not much update. We continue to provide legal services, current service for the community. We provide general legal service and immigration. We will have next section for general and immigration next Wednesday and Thursday. We still have appointments available. It's a 30-minute free consultation. Please feel free to reach out to our office and we can get your appointment if you need one. Again, we continue to work remotely. If you have any question or concern, please feel free to reach out. Our office phone number is 718-803-6373. That's the thing from me. I wish everyone a happy holiday. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you. From the new Queensborough president, Donovan Richards, is there anyone here representing him?
Borough President Richards will be joining us in about 10 minutes.
Okay, fine. Thank you. We will come back to him then. From the New York City Comptroller's Office, Scott Stringer or his representative.
Yes, we have Elaine Fan. She's on the phone. Elaine, you're unmuted.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes,
we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. I just want to say to you that the Controller's Office and a Better Balance it's a group are surveying New Yorkers about flexibility in their workplaces. And I think we're going to close out the survey very soon. The survey is available in English and Hispanic is on the Controller's website. So our office sent a survey to Committee Board 4 and all other committee boards in Queens. I would like to kindly ask the board to maybe send out the survey again to everyone, but you can also go onto the Controller's website and just fill it out. It's not going to take a long time, but the survey will definitely allow us to understand how New Yorkers' relationship to work and family are changing, because COVID-19 has upended the experience of work, and we're also tracking the outcomes of new protections codified in city and state law. So the survey data is really important. It will help us identify policy recommendations. Thank you all very much, and happy holidays.
Thank you. From the New York City Public Advocate's Office, Jamani Williams or his representative?
No one has identified themselves from his office, so I don't believe so.
Okay, we'll go on to the Queens DA. Is anyone here from the Queens DA's office?
No, it doesn't appear so.
Okay. So, Mr. Richards is not ready quite yet, correct?
Yes.
Okay, we'll come back to him. I would just like to wish everybody a happy Hanukkah, a Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy New Year, and any other holiday that you might be celebrating. Wish you the best. I will say that that is it. I will wait for the borough president to come, and then I will be departing. Thank you. I have to go.
Okay, and someone just contacted me. They are here from the DA's office. We have Elizabeth, so I'm going to add her in a second.
Okay.
Okay, Elizabeth, you're unmuted.
Hi, good evening, everyone. This is Elizabeth. I'm representing Queens DA Melinda Catt's office. And I just have a couple of things to report. And on the past Saturday, Queen's DA joined by the NYPD to sponsor the gun buyback program at Astoria. So we took 45 guns off the streets. And secondly, we know during the pandemic, the domestic violence, we heard a lot of complaints. So if you see anyone, your families or your friends who is experiencing abuse, please give us a call. Our office has the helpline, which is 718-286-4410. Again, 718-286-4410. Give us a call, this number, and you will get a chance to talk with our assistant district attorney and our partner, Horizon. So please just contact us. We would love to help everyone. So in the end, I just wish everyone a safe and happy holiday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lou, if I can intercede really quick. I actually received a email from Michelle over at office.
I can't hear you. Who's that screaming back?
It's not on my side. So yeah, I actually have an update from Michelle over at Ocasio-Cortez's office that I'd like to read. I'm sorry, I was just settling in, but I am officially in now. So if that's okay, I'd like to take the time now until we wait for our borough president. I can read that on their behalf. Okay, so just bear with me. Hold on, here we go. All right, so good evening, members and leadership of Community Board 4. Congresswoman Cortez and our office send you all season greetings and wishing you and your loved one a joyous holiday season. As for community updates, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez hosted her monthly town hall on November 12th. She shared the most recent guidance the city and state on COVID-19 and took questions took questions from constituents. If you missed the event, you can watch the recording on our YouTube page at Rep AOC, and there is a link there, and I'll share that with you guys, if not tonight, at the very least by tomorrow. Our December town hall, the final town hall of the first term, will be on December 17th at 6:30 p.m. We will offer a term in review, and then Congresswoman will take questions from participants to join the upcoming town hall. You can register here, and again, that's a link that we'll share with you guys. Prior to Thanksgiving, the Congresswoman recognized on the floor of Congress the centennial of the Jewish Center of Jackson Heights. We are proud of their long history of service to our Jewish Americans and wider Queens community. If you'd like to see her remarks, you may see them on our YouTube at Rep AOC. Again, we'll share that link. This week, she is expected to honor the Queens County Council of Veterans of Foreign War for the centennial. If you know of other institutions or individuals that recommend for recognition, please reach out via email at michellediane.hernandez@mail.house.gov. And again, I will share that with you guys. A legislative update. Last week, a bipartisan group of senators released a new COVID relief package, which Speaker Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Schumer have since endorsed. It includes an additional $300 per week in unemployment benefits, small business aid, and funding for local governments and vaccine distribution. Last week in a Financial Service Committee hearing, the Congresswoman also urged Secretary Mnuchin to release $175 billion in relief loan. Congress has already approved small businesses and estates, and again, I will share those remarks. For the remainder of the legislative session, Congress will be focused on passing a defense spending bill and government funding bill. As for constituent services, and this is their final statement, our office continues to assist constituents with federal casework. Our staff continues to work from home, and we continue to accept cases at our website, ocasio-cortez.house.gov, or over the phone at 718-662-5970. We will send out notifications about upcoming events through our mailing list. If you aren't already signed up for our mailing list, you can do so at the link below that we'll share in the chat in either English or Spanish. And again, I will get that all to you guys very soon. And that's it. No more updates on my side as far as Cortez's office goes. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen.
You got it.
Okay. We are waiting for the borough president.
Yeah, we had earlier told him 8 o'clock, but so he should be on hopefully in the next 3 minutes or so.
Okay. All right. Oh, he had asked for a specific time. I didn't know.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Did anybody come in that you saw, Christina, from our board members that hadn't spoken?
Yes, there's actually a few. Pat Martin is one. Lucy Cerezo Scully is another.
We actually have Kristen Gonzalez, Christina.
Yeah, Kristen Gonzalez also.
Mhm.
All right, well, let's start with Lucy. There's a Scully, she can speak.
Okay. Lucy, you're unmuted.
Sorry. Thank you. Lou, I'm going to miss you. And I concur with Red's comment on the gavel. Loved it. Thank you so much for your service. I have to say I learned a lot from you, and it was an honor to serve with you on this board.
Thank you. Okay, going down the list. Kristen Gonzalez, I guess, would be next.
All right, Kristen.
Hi, can you guys hear / see me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Hi, everyone. It's really good to see everyone's faces. I just want to echo Lou, especially having completed my first term on the board. It's been so great learning from you and being a part of the board and seeing your leadership. So thank you so much. And I'm definitely I hope that you still come around and see all of us.
I will.
Also,
thank you.
That's good to hear. I think my computer is also freezing a little bit, so apologies if maybe there's a lag on my end. But I'll head back to you, Lucy.
All right. You said Pat Martin, I think you said is here tonight?
Yes.
Okay. Patricia Martin, you can speak.
Pat Martin, we can hear you. Yes, we can hear you.
Well, I've been trying to get on for almost over a half an hour. For some reason, WebNet would not let me on. But I get on and I'm in shock. Because when I think of the board, it's you, Lou. So I'm stunned that as I'm turning on there, everybody is saying goodbye. I'm stunned. I can't believe it, but your service, I remember when I first came on the board, it was a fiery board. I mean, it was arguments and you were banging down the gavel and calling for order. And then I've seen over the years it's mellowed, but it will never mellow enough that we will not miss you. So I'm sorry to hear that you're leaving, but I know that you've given the greatest service to the board that any leader could. So I'm wishing you the best. God bless and in peace. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anybody else?
No, not that I saw.
Hey, it's 8 o'clock.
All right, let's see.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry for the delay. We're waiting for the borough president to come on, and we can move on from there. I don't want to start the presentation and then have it interrupted if we can avoid that. But we will give him another 4 minutes, so 8:05, and then we will start the presentations. And I guess as he comes in, unfortunately, we will have to interrupt the presenters. Excuse me.
Hey, Lou. It's Gregory. Since Christian made mention of the breaking ground and the question about the homeless, can I just speak for a minute on that, just to shed some light on what we saw on the ground?
Sure, go right ahead.
Thanks. Christian and I did a walkthrough with Alejandra Magana, who's our sort of our liaison for Breaking Ground. If you're unfamiliar with that organization, I highly recommend, learning more about them and the incredible work they do. One thing that was eye-opening for me is they do not refer to the homeless population as homeless. They refer to them as their clients. And, following in what sort of Red was saying about, how we talk about things and how we address things, I think that really sort of sets the tone as a helping and a, problem solving mentality, which is totally what they are all about. And, me personally, that's the way I like to approach it. So we did, walk around the district, largely focusing on, parks related issues, because at the time when we did this, CC Moore Park was not open yet. There was construction fencing, and as people probably observed, there was, a large amount of clients, around the park there on the south side of CC Moore Park, and then numerous other parks in the area. They, just to give you sort of, the dedication that the organization has to these individuals, they told us that they had one particular individual, and there were countless other cases of this, that they had worked with for 10 years and finally found that person housing. We have a very serious confluence of events right now, obviously in the pandemic, and that has sort of been sped up and exacerbated with rising, costs of living, the legislation sort of being in limbo related to evictions, and then of course, the pandemic, and as that relates to unemployment and assistance with unemployment. So, basically my 2 cents would be just approach this from an attitude of learning more before, you pass judgment on these individuals, because this is something that, very easily could afflict any of us on the board here. Thanks.
Thank you, Gregory. Is the borough president around yet, Christina?
Lou, I'm sorry, Christina, rather, I just spoke to Joe. I'm texting him, but he said that they're trying their best to get him here. He's running a little late.
All right. Well, then what we'll do is continue with the meeting. Marilena, I'd like to turn the meeting over to you at this time, so that the presenters can come on, and at some point, obviously, you might have to interrupt so that the borough president can speak.
Thank you so much, Lou.
Thank you, and good night, everyone, and be safe.
Good night. So, Christian, we're going to go with the presenters.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know if there's any particular order that we're going to be following, but all presenters have the ability to share their screens, so we'll just go in the order that you guys want to go in. But Christina and I are ready, or rather, I'll say Christina. Christina's ready to just switch it over to whoever wants to present. So I don't even know what the order is. If we follow the order on the agenda, we could just do that and keep it plain and
Yeah,
simple.
that's fine. Yeah, you can follow the order on the agenda.
Christina, you got that?
Okay. Do you have the agenda open? I actually don't have it open at the moment.
I actually just had it a second ago. Hold on. I just closed it. Well, I have you here. Well, a quick sidebar. I'll tell you what, we're going to all miss Lou, but Lou's not going to miss the jabs that he gets in his ribs of the elbowing throughout the meeting the whole time. So Marilyn, get ready for those. I'm like just constantly hitting.
Okay, so first is Nasir Kanzada Consulting Engineers.
Mm-hmm.
So I will make them presenters.
Mm-hmm.
Good evening.
Good evening, Nasir.
My name is Diwakar Gupta. Nancy Lee Paul, we're working with Nasir. So we'll just share our screen. Okay, everyone can see the presentation? Okay, so we have an application with the Board of Standards and Appeals for a gas station at 8211 Queens Boulevard. We'd like to convert the auto repair shop into a convenience store. We're going to be making a lot of changes to the site, and we want to get a new certificate of occupancy. So what we'd like to do at the site, right now the building is an auto repair shop. We want to cut back the building and change it into a convenience store. Right now, there are 2 dispensers. We want to put in a new dispenser layout with a total of 4 dispensers. We want to take out the old tanks and put in new underground gasoline storage tanks. We want to install a new canopy. There's no canopy at the site right now. We're gonna put up signs on the side of the canopy in the front of the store, and we're gonna change the sign pole that's at the corner of the lot near Queens Boulevard and 51st Avenue. And we're gonna put in new planting areas, 1 new sign pole as well as 2 planting areas on the sides of the building. So this is the proposed layout for the new convenience store, and as well as the front elevation. It will be open. The building is going to be a little bit larger than the existing building. It'll probably be open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so just to go over those changes again, we're going to convert the auto repair shop into a convenience store and get a new certificate of occupancy. We're going to take out the 3 underground 4,000-gallon tanks and install 3 new 10,000-gallon tanks. We're going to replace the 2 dispensers with 4 new dispensers. We're going to take out the kiosk that's currently at the site. We're going to install a new canopy and put in new signage, and we're going to have 3 new planting areas. Are there any questions?
Christian, do you want to just go down the order of board members?
Yeah, I think you should. I certainly would. Absolutely, yeah.
All right, so I'll just call out names and then unmute you.
Yeah, that's the best way. I mean, we can get it to the point where board members can, if you guys can raise your hands on the function, but there are several members who are on the phone and can't. So we'll just do like a quick 1 question per person, and just for sake of keeping going, because we do have several presentations.
Okay. Oh, first, Alex Owens. Alex, thing.
It's pretty straightforward.
Nothing to say, Alex?
Sorry?
No, do you have any questions?
No questions. It's pretty.
Okay.
Christina, let me ask you something. I mean, and again, Christina and Marilyn, whoever wants to make a decision. If board members would like to put in the chat box that they do not want to be called and have no question, we won't call them, and it might save us time. But I don't know if that'll. And Christina, it's more for you. If you think that'll help, we'll go with that. If board members know how to use it to say you don't have a question, just skip over your name.
I think that's a great idea, Kristen.
Okay, perfect. So board members, if you know how to use Zoom, and your name is going to be called, and you don't have a question you want to be called, just say in the chat, no questions, thank you, and we'll just go right over here. It might cut the time by a little. We'll try that maybe.
Yeah, I know one no. Okay, no from Ari, no from Ashley. All right.
And I just want to add, the ULURP committee did see this proposal, and I know Alton's going to go down a list later of all the things that we got in ULURP committee. We had a few questions, but it's pretty straightforward, this application, and it looks like a good thing for the community. We weren't able to vote, we didn't have a quorum, but we're all in agreement that it looks like a good thing for the community. So if that helps anyone.
Okay, great.
So Chris, we're getting a lot of names here and there. I'm managing lists as best I can, but we have at least a good maybe 7 or 8 people who we're looking not to be called. So
yeah, I saw them. I'm gonna go to Alton.
Okay.
Alton, do you have anything?
Right. This application is pretty straightforward. In terms of violations, there was the current application is to renew the permit that had expired, but that was the only item that was pending in terms of violations. We have sent out notices to the community. We haven't received any opposition to the proposal, so it looked like a straightforward application. I think, I think this is pretty clear. But if there's any questions for anyone to ask, definitely this would be the time to ask if there are any questions. but it's pretty straightforward.
All right, thank you, Alton.
Thank you.
All right, so next, Mr. Chen, do you have any questions about this presentation that we just saw?
Yeah, I'm okay. As everybody agreed, I have no opinion.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, so. Clara, do you have any questions?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Okay. Let's see. Well, did Gregory say no questions?
No, Gregory did not say no questions. No.
Okay. Gregory, do you have any questions regarding this presentation?
I was actually trying to put my question into the chat, but the Q&A rather. So my question was just mainly because there's the difference in gallons, replacing with 30,000 gallons versus the 12,000 existing. Is there any environmental impact of that? Obviously, anything underground, poses some sort of environmental concern, but I don't know because I'm not in the gas industry.
So these are new double-walled fiberglass tanks that have a sensor in between the two walls that give an alarm if there's leakage from the inside tank into that space. That's one warning. There are a number of things that are built into the whole system now for the environmental impact. And the whole thing, it's fully approved system through the Department of Environmental Conservation and also the fire department.
Okay, great.
One of the reasons for doing large tanks, one, we're having more dispensers, and two, having big trucks having to unload multiple times with smaller tanks just obstructs the whole site and just makes things more difficult.
Makes sense.
Okay, great. Next, we have Lucy Schlero. Lucy, do you have any questions?
Yes, I do. Is this the same owners? I remember the owners a few years back. Is it the same people or new people that have taken over this location?
I think it's the same owners. They've owned it for at least 10 years. It's Adelmo Chaffee, I think.
Chaffee. All right.
Yeah.
That's it. Thank you very much.
All right, next we have Marilena. Do you have any questions? No, okay. No for Matt. Okay. Michelle Dunstan, do you have any questions?
No questions. Just it'll be a great improvement.
Okay, great. Min Wen, do you have any questions?
No, I don't.
Okay. No. Red, do you have any questions?
No, I don't.
Okay. Sunil, do you have any questions regarding this presentation?
No questions.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that's it for our board members.
Okay.
Okay, so let's move on to the next presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next presentation will be Kathy Ko from the Department of City Planning regarding zoning for coastal flood resiliency plan. And Kathy, give me 1 second and I will make you a presenter. All right, Kathy, you have presenter status.
Great. Thank you so much, Christina. And thank you for having me present tonight on this proposal. I hope everyone's been doing well in these trying times. And I'm going to start sharing my screen, and if someone can just confirm that they see the presentation when I go full screen.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Kathy.
Okay, okay. Sorry. Okay, I was trying to turn off my video just to preserve my bandwidth. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I'm just gonna turn off video while I present to preserve my bandwidth, and I'll come back once I'm done with the presentation. So yeah, zoning for coastal flood resiliency is a proposal that updates the zoning resolution, in particular Article 6, Chapter 4. And while the bulk of the zoning text would apply only in the city's current and future floodplain, one central goal of this is to address resiliency and recovery needs citywide. And there's a set of provisions that would apply to all community districts. So those are the provisions I'm going to focus on today, since CB4 is pretty landlocked and largely does not exist within the floodplain. So I'll focus on those provisions that really impact citywide after I give a little bit of a background on the overall project as well. So while there are many sources of flooding that pose issues in the city, coastal storms actually present the most significant flood risk in terms of compromising human safety, property damage, and business disruption. So while we're analyzing the city's coastal risk, we're focusing on the area that FEMA designates as the high-risk flood zone. And that's the area that has a 1% chance of being flooded every year. In 2012, Hurricane Sandy showed a more widespread event that went well beyond the 1% chance risk of flooding. And close to half of those properties are technically classified at a moderate risk of flooding or having a 0.2% chance of flooding. And with climate change, the floodplain will continue to expand. By the 2050s, so you can see in this map all the way to the right here, today's moderate risk flood zone will likely be high risk for flooding. And that area today is home to almost 1 million New Yorkers. So this proposal builds on 2 zoning text amendments that were put in place shortly after Hurricane Sandy to help coastal neighborhoods recover and rebuild. And since then, DCP has conducted research and outreach with which revealed many issues that communities are still facing as they try to prepare their buildings for flooding and other future risks. So the current proposal includes provisions that would make the zoning relief granted to coastal communities after Sandy permanent. But it also expands these allowances and offers additional relief to communities further inland. So the proposal addresses 4 overarching goals for long-term resiliency that came out of DCP's outreach and research, and that's sort of identified here in these illustrations. So first, there is an expansion of the applicability of zoning relief options to buildings that are not only in the high flood risk zone, but also in the moderate risk flood zone, as shown in the previous slide. And this expansion would reach the neighborhoods where higher flood risk is expected in the future. Second, there's a set of provisions for buildings to be constructed to resiliency standards that go beyond the current level of flood risk, such as constructing their occupiable spaces at a higher elevation. And third, we're proposing options for property owners in the floodplain to invest in small changes to their building over time, like raising mechanical equipment out of the basement without being required to raise or fully flood-proof the structure, which can be very expensive. And finally, there's a goal set of providing provisions that apply to the entire city that would help us recover more efficiently than the city was able to after Hurricane Sandy. And it would be no matter what type of disaster we're dealing with or the parts of the city that it hits. So those are the provisions that I'm going to go through now. Again, that is goal 4, within the goal of reducing regulatory obstacles for future recovery. There's 4 issues in this the proposal targets, that being power or energy systems, building accessibility, helping vulnerable populations, and aiding in future disaster recovery. Again, since CB4 is largely outside of the 1% and 0.2% floodplains, we're going to mostly talk about this tonight. And just to show that applicability within CB4, again, you can see it is pretty landlocked district, and the shaded areas here do not necessarily reflect developable land. It's just land that's within the floodplain. So, and with that said, I guess you can see, this isn't within the district, but that area just northeast above the northernmost point. Obviously, that's not developable land. That's land that's just under the Grand Central Parkway. And there is a very small portion of a block on the very southeastern tip of CD4's boundaries at the corner of Horace Harding Expressway and Corona Avenue. And I took a look on the map. That eastern end is developed a few 2-story attached homes. I believe there's also a surface parking lot and possibly a portion of the Madison York Assisted Living Facility. So Sandy showed us how a storm's effects can go beyond the floodplain, especially across our energy grid. The proposal would allow power systems, and that includes generators, batteries, and fuel cells, and other like energy storage systems to be considered permitted obstructions in open areas across all zoning districts to facilitate their installment and not have property owners bumping into zoning constraints when they're doing this. And the zoning relief enacted after Hurricane Sandy, called the 2013 flood text, allowed some homes in the high-risk floodplain to place generators in their yards as permitted obstructions. So now this text is proposing to allow buildings across the city to do this, so long as the power generators would meet the limits to the size and location, including that they must be located at least 5 feet from lot lines and can't exceed a height of 10, 15, or 23 feet. And that all depends on the zoning district that's outlined in the zoning resolution. In addition, to ensure that all areas of the city can easily provide ADA access, the proposal would classify both ramps and lifts as permitted obstructions and all required open areas to facilitate these accessible designs. And another important issue is how disasters, especially those that require the evacuation of residents, impact vulnerable populations. So we're looking at the siting of nursing homes to address this concern. And nursing homes have populations that require continual medical care, and research shows that this dependency can be strained when nursing homes shelter in place or when they have to evacuate prior to a storm. So the city believes it'd be appropriate to limit the growth of nursing homes in high-risk areas to lessen the health consequences and all of the logistical challenges of evacuating residents in these facilities. So the proposal would prohibit the development of new nursing homes within the high-risk areas, that's the 1% chance floodplain, and other selected geographies that would have limited vehicular access during a storm event. So existing facilities in those areas would still be able to conduct enlargements for modest improvements, especially those that help with resiliency. Nursing homes located outside of the high-risk floodplain or the designated areas that wouldn't be affected, and new nursing homes could be still permitted in lower risk areas. And here within CD4's boundary, I think the dot that we're seeing here is exactly where that portion of Corona that we saw before. There's the Madison York Assisted Living Facility. And I believe there's a Castle Heights Senior Living Facility, but again, that one especially is just right outside of the floodplain. So lastly, Sandy showed us that a lengthy process to update zoning regulations can slow the response needed for a disaster. So this proposal would make certain recovery provisions available to be used quickly following future disasters. And some of these provisions would be implemented now to address the COVID-19 pandemic and its associated economic effects. So currently, immediately following a disaster, the mayor can issue an emergency order to temporarily remove certain obstacles to facilitate the recovery efforts that are needed. but that process is limited. That process can be limited depending on the type of disaster, which may not be enough time to address the regulations that hinder, long-term recovery. So the proposal would include a series of disaster recovery provisions that could be made available through a text amendment when a disaster occurs. So applicable recovery provisions would be selected based on the issues caused by the disaster and would be available for a time set at the time of the text amendment. So the provisions could be limited to designated recovery areas based on the disaster's impacts and recovery plans. Plainly put, it could be sort of more tailored, specific to that particular disaster. So the set of provisions that could be made available are drawn from lessons learned from Sandy, as well as the current pandemic. And on the left here are relief that was put in place temporarily after Sandy. And on the right is the current proposed menu of relief options for future disasters. So examples or rules in this menu include modifications to the damage and destruction thresholds to allow the reconstruction of non-complying buildings and non-conforming uses, and rules that could allow uses in zoning districts that weren't typically permitted on a temporary basis. So considering the situation that we're going through right now with COVID, the proposal would include enabling 2 sets of rules to help support more predictable long-term recovery efforts. So the first one would give property owners who hold special permits and authorizations an additional term so they can complete their original plan of construction on a longer timeline, since that was disrupted earlier on in the pandemic. The second would support businesses that do not conform with zoning use regulations by allowing them more than 2 years, which is the current limit of discontinuance, to return to operation. So if they're closed for 2 years, basically this text would allow that use to come back. So the city's specifically using these items for the COVID-19 pandemic. The mayor's executive order for recovery for the pandemic, these are the ones that are checked off. So again, this is an example of how the menu of disaster relief can be tailorable to the specificity of that disaster. So for this text amendment, in terms of next steps, this is being referred out to all community boards, borough presidents, and to the city council in this ULURP process. Community boards are being asked to submit their recommendations to the City Planning Commission by December 28th of this year. And there's more information about the project, as well as an annotated version of the proposed zoning text on our website. And I'm happy to provide this presentation to the board, as well as any helpful additional documents, summary, FAQ, and et cetera, to help with the board's decision. So thank you again for allowing me time to summarize this update, and I'm happy to take any questions if there are any.
Thank you so much, Kathy. This is very, very interesting and great for the city. We're gonna have to interrupt for a few minutes. We are going to introduce the new borough president, Donovan Richards. Kathy, would you be able to stay on and we go right back to you?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I'll be here.
Thank you so much, Kathy.
Sure.
Okay,
Thank you so much. You hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. I will be brief because it's a very important subject, but it's an honor to be here. Thank you so much for having me. And before I begin, I first want to acknowledge Lou Walker and all of the great work he did. I know that, being the chair could be such a thankless job. Probably your stress levels have increased, certainly in certain times, chairing the community board, but I want to thank you for your service to this board, to Christian as well. And I also want to welcome the new board. So congratulations to our chair. I want to make sure I'm saying this right. Marilena, did I say it right? Marilena. Okay, got it. Sorry, I'm going to get there. I'm gonna get there.
Okay. Thank you.
And then
and congratulations to you.
Thank you. And to Ashley as well, thank you. Happy holidays to everyone. I don't have to tell you about the year we've had, and I know we all are looking forward, God willing, to a better 2021. But in all honesty, you know, we still have a lot of challenges we have to address across this borough when we look at the disparities, in particular, that have really drove COVID and exacerbated this issue in communities of color primarily. You know, we have a lot of work to do. I think I'll be at Elmhurst Hospital tomorrow. I'll be touring a few hospitals tomorrow. I've been in close touch already. We've hit the ground running to make sure that our hospitals and institutions have the PPE they need and everything. And, you know, we're going to not just talk about it, you know, whatever capital money and things that, you know, are accessible to us, you know, we want to really utilize to strengthen our institutions across Queens. And we're going to look to do that in an equitable way as we move forward. So I look forward to the strong partnership with each and every one of you. Doesn't mean that we're going to see eye to eye on 1,000% of the things happening in communities, but most importantly, we should be able to talk and sit at a table and figure out a path forward that I think would be helpful to our community. So I look forward to the work ahead with you on that. I'll just lastly add, you know, there are a few things going on. Tomorrow we're having a job fair. This is the 12th one, and I want to thank Sharon Lee, who obviously was our acting borough president, but really never acted. She really was the borough president and worked extremely hard to ensure that our communities and that our borough could move forward. And also, I want to say that it's been a seamless transition. I mean, you know, there were a lot of things put in place. We worked very closely to make sure that, you know, the functions of the office would not be interrupted during the transition. So I'm very grateful to her for that. And I'll also, so I'll just get back to the job fair tomorrow at 2 p.m. You do have to RSVP at queensbp.org. So let me say that again, queensbp.org. I would urge you to do that tonight. Don't wait until tomorrow. I know after you get through the presentation, and I've sat through this presentation before, you may feel a little sleepy after this meeting, but get as much information as you can. I know zoning, I used to chair the zoning committee in the council. It could be overwhelming sometimes, but really take this information in, and God willing, you make the right decisions as we move forward. And I think that's it. I'm not gonna, because you're in the middle of a presentation, I think that's more important, but I just wanted to stop in, more importantly, say if there are things that you think the office can do better, we're here to partner with you. Please do not be shy. If you need to critique me, I'm not looking for yes people. You know, the community boards are a charter mandated function, and I want to make sure that we're serving you and being helpful in the areas you may feel weak, and you should help me in the areas that you think I'm weak, and that's how we build a stronger borough. So I'm grateful. I'm honored to be your borough president. Really, it's an honor. I look forward to the work ahead. There's a lot of work to do, and may we all do it together. So thank you so much. I don't know if anybody wants, if you want me to answer one or two questions, I can, but if not, I will see you all in the new year, and I pray that you all have a blessed holiday season.
Thank you so much, Borough President Richards. We're happy to have you. Congratulations to you, and we're gonna be very, very close working together on all sorts of issues, and we can't wait. Thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless you all.
God bless and good luck. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so that was Borough President Richards. Thank you so much for him coming on and introducing himself. I'm going to go back to if Kathy's on here. I think she's still here. I guess we can do the same thing. If anyone has any questions, if you know, obviously we're gonna go through the list. If you don't have any questions, please write in the chat box that you have no questions, so we can skip you just to make this a little bit faster.
Marilyn, if it's okay with you, board members, please disregard that. It's doing it that way, writing the questions that they don't question is actually more difficult for us because we had to go to a list twice. We thought it would work, but it did not work. Yeah, I don't know that we feel confident enough that board members could raise their hands because not everybody has access to it. So we may have to go this route. But before we do that, I do have one question in particular, and this goes towards Kathy as to what our role on this is, to be very clear on it. Kathy, if you can just take like a really brief, maybe like 30 seconds to explain with regards to this, as far as a vote, our obligation, is this a recommendation? Where is this, just explain to us, where do we stand on this item and what we're supposed to do as a board for this, whether, you know. Please.
Sure, yeah. So this is a non-ULURP, but it is still referred out to community boards. So yeah, I mean, I think obviously in districts that are much more heavily affected by coastal floods and disasters of that sort, we're very strongly recommending they submit a vote. But with that said, there are citywide implications of this proposed text. So yeah, the board can certainly vote on this and submit that. I think there was some talk about providing a letter. That would be fine too. I mean, from CB4, I think you mentioned possibly going that route. That would be fine too. I spoke to our resiliency team about that. They said that would be appropriate. So I think it's really up to you how you want to express your vote.
Okay, so I mean, and guys, again, I only managed to Marilena. You know, we can go the actual each person one by one, yes, no, whatever it may be. Or as I explained to Kathy, we could do something where we can say something on, write a letter to say, you know, while the board did not give a formalized vote, the following questions and or concerns were brought up, and we just leave it at that. Again, those are our options because it is something that was allowed. We can just acknowledge every question that was asked tonight, or and even support. We can say, you know, several concerns were brought up, several supportive things were brought up. We can try that route, or we can just go with the yes or no. So we do have that option, Marilyn. I want to be clear. However you guys want to handle it.
I just want to jump in 1 second. Being that Lou left, we no longer have a quorum.
Oh. Oh well, there goes that.
Okay, so there's your answer, Christian. We're gonna have to go with that route.
Okay, all right. I mean, that would affect several items that we have going on tonight because we have items that require an actual vote. But I mean, this is no different than a regular board meeting. If we don't have a quorum, we don't have a quorum. It is what it is. Oh, okay. All right. So then that's it. Then I guess just proceed as you were. Definitely take questions from members who may have them, please.
All right. So then I'm going to go down the list then.
Yes, please, Christina.
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. So first up is Alex Owens. Alex, any questions?
No questions.
Okay. Alton, any questions?
No questions. This isn't an application that we was able to view fully under Europe. Unfortunately, by the time we received it, we didn't have enough time to see the full presentation. But so far, from what I have seen, it seems to be straightforward. Kathy, I think we had mentioned something about the park. Does this have any effect on the park?
Alton, are you saying the park?
Alton, we can't hear you that well.
Yes. Okay. Kathy?
Yeah, I'm sorry. What is your question?
What effect does this have, if any, on corona flushing of the park? I think we have mentioned this, that it may or may not. So if that's something that you could touch upon?
Are you asking if this has any impact on Flushing Meadows Corona Park?
Yes, the lake. Yes.
No, it doesn't, because these provisions largely affect buildings and or permitted obstructions or recovery relief, sort of regulatory hurdles around recovery relief. So
okay.
No, there's really no. I mean, the park is in the flood zone, but this wouldn't impact any construction or anything like that happening in the park.
Okay, great, fantastic.
Sure.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Alton. All right, next, Ari, any questions?
No questions.
All right, thank you. Ashley, any questions?
No questions from me.
Okay. Mr. Chen,
Yeah.
any questions?
No.
All right, thank you. Clara, any questions?
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you. David Chong, any questions?
No questions.
Thank you. Gregory, any questions?
No.
All right, thank you. Kristen, any questions?
No questions for me. Thanks.
Lorena, any questions?
No, thank you.
Okay. Lucy Chalero, any questions?
No questions.
Okay. Linda, any questions?
No questions.
Okay. Matt, any questions?
Yes, just one for Kathy. Uh, just to clarify for me, the changes to building regs that allow power storage units of a moderate size and also that count as not obstructive ramps and lifts, do those apply only in the floodplain or the 1 or 0.2% danger area, or is that citywide?
That would affect properties in the 0.2% floodplain that wouldn't be allowed to do so today, but these are all optional. No one is obligated to make these changes.
But if you're in outside the floodplain entirely, are you able to avail yourself of those provisions?
Yeah, it would. I mean, it depends on the zoning regulation. I'm sorry, the zoning district that you're in. It would depend. It doesn't preclude that. They wouldn't be able to do these things. I don't have a simple answer for that because it does depend on the district that they're in. But what this text does is basically allow for more flexibility and the capability of doing so if you can't right now, depending on the district.
Thank you very much. I'm done. Thank you.
Okay, next, Michelle Dunstan. Michelle, do you have any questions?
No, no questions.
Okay. Min Wen, any questions? Okay, thank you. Pat Martin, any questions?
No questions.
Okay. Red, any questions?
Nope, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sunil, any questions?
No, no question.
Okay. And Carol, any questions?
Which Carol?
You, Carol Maholsky?
Okay, no, I don't have any questions.
Okay, great. All right, that's all the board members.
Okay, great. Thank you, Christina. So if we went through all the questions, what we're going to do now is we're going to wait until we get to the ULURP committee. When Alton does his report, we're going to go through all the applications we got today, and then we're going to do I guess the recommendation because we don't have a board vote today, unfortunately. But thank you so much, Kathy. And we're going to go on to the next presentation. Christina.
Yes, that's the 44th Avenue demapping. And we have Philip Montgomery and Gail Mondaro. I'm going to transfer presentership over. Okay, Philip, I'm transferring presentership over to you. Philip?
Yes. Can you hear me? Okay, great.
Yes, we can hear you now.
I believe Gail needs to be.
Is Gail going to be sharing?
Yes.
Fine. I'm not sharing my screen though, Philip. I thought you were.
Yes, I will be sharing my screen right now. Thank you.
Okay.
Hang on just a second. Oh. Hang on, folks. I'm sorry. I'm having technical difficulties here. I apologize. So,
It's okay, Philip. It happens to all of us, brother. Take your time, please. And nobody's rushing you because we'd all be doing the same thing. I was actually going to advise, if at all possible, and Kathy just texted me, and Philip, Kathy, everybody, maybe Kathy has just offered to, and I was going to, then Kathy, she'll share the screen, and then Philip, you can go based on that. Is that okay? We'll have somebody while you speak. All right.
Yes, and Phil, just say next slide when you want me to click on to the next slide.
All right. Exactly. I'll do the same thing, but Kathy jumped in and did it before I did. So by all means, let's just go with that, if that's okay with you.
Thank you both.
All right, so I'll switch presenter over to Kathy.
Okay.
Please, thank you. And Philip, it happens, man. Don't worry about it. Believe me, it happens to me every time. Please.
Thank you.
You got it.
All right, Kathy, you're set.
Okay.
And thanks, Kathy.
No problem. Okay, and it's full screen? It's all good?
Yes, we're all
Yes.
good.
Okay, great.
Okay, thank you so much, folks. We appreciate it. My name is Gail Mandaro, and I'm the Senior Director for Government and Community Relations at the New York City School Construction Authority. Thank you for having us here tonight so that we can discuss a proposed amendment to the city maps to accommodate the two public schools, PS 315 and IS 311, that were constructed in 2015 and 2016, respectively. The two schools are located in the Corona community along 44th Avenue between Junction Boulevard and National Street. They're approximately 6 blocks from, I'm sorry, next screen. Yeah. They're approximately 6 blocks from south of the MTA 7 train and about 1 block north of the Long Island Railroad. The two schools were constructed under the Department of Education's 5-year capital plan for fiscal years 2010 to 2014. The schools were constructed to address the capacity needs at the primary and intermediate school levels in District 24, specifically in the Corona area. The schools were constructed on city-owned land, which included parts of the 44th Avenue on the city map identified, but never built out as a street. Several other buildings constructed before the schools are also built within the mapped areas and the undeveloped portions of 44th Avenue. The city map amendment will reconfigure 44th Avenue to remove the street designation from the areas within which the schools and other buildings are located and conform the city map to the longstanding existing conditions. I will now turn this presentation over to my colleague, Bill Montgomery, Chief Engineer at the Department of City Planning, who will describe the more technical aspects of the city map amendment.
Thank you, Gail, and good evening, committee board members. And I apologize for the earlier technical difficulties. So next slide, please. The subject portion of 44th Avenue was officially mapped in or around 1910, and as noted before, it was never built to its fully mapped width of 45 feet. It is currently built with an 18-foot wide travelway, a 10-foot wide sidewalk on the north side, and no sidewalk on the south side, which abuts a retaining wall for the Long Island Railroad. When the schools were constructed, the sidewalk in front of them were actually widened from 5 feet to its current 10-foot width. The street is open to one-way westbound traffic and has curbside parking on the north. While the street is built to only 28 feet, it is shown on the city map as 45 feet wide. In this action, the 45-foot map dimension would be narrowed to 30 feet, but no change in the built condition along this street is proposed. This action only makes the city map match the current built condition. Next slide, please. So this is a photo looking west on 44th Avenue with IS 311 on the right. Next slide, please. This is looking east on 44th Avenue between the two schools. Next slide, please. This is again looking west on 44th Avenue towards Junction Boulevard from PS 315. Next slide, please. And this is looking east up 44th Avenue from Junction Boulevard. And that's the end of the presentation, and be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Philip and Gail. So we're going to be doing Christina, roll call.
Okay. All right. Alex Owens?
I guess two simplified. Is demapping just removing it from the city map, or can you go into that again?
Yes, it's just removing the mapped street lines from the city map. You know, it was mapped at one width. It was never built to that width, and we're just narrowing and removing those lines from the city map and making it match the built condition.
Okay. I think no other questions except, will it have an implication on parking at all?
No, the map change we're only changing the map to match the existing conditions that are in place now.
Okay. That's it.
Okay. Alton? Alton, any questions?
Oh, no questions. I just want to say that again, this is one that did not come before Europe for us to completely view. But basically, again, it does look straightforward. It's taking something that was there in 1910, I believe it's in 1910, and bringing up to what's currently there now. So this seems to be a straightforward application. And yeah, so with that said, that's it. That's the end of my questions and statement. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Alton. Andy?
No questions.
Okay. Ari, any questions?
No questions.
Okay. Ashley, any questions?
No, it's pretty straightforward. No questions.
Okay. Mr. Chen, any questions?
I don't think he's at his computer, Christina.
Okay. Clara, any questions?
No questions, Christina. Thank you.
Okay. David, any questions?
No questions.
Gregory, any questions?
No questions, thanks.
Lorena, any questions?
No questions. Thank you.
Lucy Cerezo Scaldi, any questions?
No questions.
Okay, thank you. Lucy Shalero, any questions?
Yes, I have a question. Will this future demapping affect zoning in that area? Hello?
No, the city map change will not affect zoning in any way.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Linda, any questions?
Yes. What kind of impact will this demapping have on traffic?
It should really have no impact as it's just correcting to an as-built condition. It's not changing the condition. It's just codifying it on the city maps.
So there isn't any construction that will occur to change that street in any way?
No, it's just amending the map to reflect the current as-built conditions.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Maria Elena, do you have any questions?
Yes, I have one question. I was just wondering, I understand why you're doing the application, but why wasn't it done prior? Like, what's the reason for doing it now as of doing it like when this was built?
I can only speak to what I can piece together because it predates my time at the SCA. It appears that there may have been some misunderstandings of where the mapped lines lied at the time. We did, of course, go through public review before we constructed the two buildings, and it just seems as if all parties assumed, since it was city-owned land originally, that it was all part and parcel of the same development sites, and just, I believe, missed it one way or another, and we're just correcting it now to ensure that we have accurate records in the city files.
Okay, so this is something that the city was basically like recommending to do.
Yeah, it was city-owned land that they assigned jurisdiction to the School Construction Authority to construct two very needed schools at the time. And I just think that it was an oversight people had presumed at the time. Again, I'm only going off of what I could piece together. But it seems as if everyone just assumed that the street had been already demapped. And in fact, we learned after the fact that it wasn't. And we're trying to correct that situation now.
Okay, so it's not going to, like, are you not going to be planning to build more schools?
No, the school's opened. They've been open since, I believe, 2015 and 2016.
No, yeah, I mean, like in the future, like, is that like a plan maybe, or it's just CMAP?
It's not in my current plan, and we're not making this application to enable any development. We're simply making this application so that we can close out and finalize both schools and get our final closeout documentation from the Department of Buildings. Okay. And our colleagues at City Planning are here to help us finish that process and close it out.
Okay, so you're going to close the applications. Okay, thank you for clarifying.
You're welcome.
Okay, next we have Matt. Question?
No questions, quick comment. It seems like a fine idea. If we were voting, I'd be in favor of it. I would just urge city planning to take a look at the length of the avenue all the way to 114th Street. When Transportation Committee looked at the bus plan a year ago that came from the Transit Authority, they were turning buses onto 44th Avenue, 43rd Avenue. I think based on the map, not knowing how narrow the actual street is. So maybe you guys, if you had the opportunity, could correct the map all the way to 114th Street. That's it. Thank you. I'm out.
All right, thank you, Matt. All right, next, Michelle.
No questions.
Okay. Min Wen, any questions?
No question, thank you.
Thank you. Pat Martin, any questions?
No questions.
Okay. Red, any questions?
Yeah. Does this, I mean, this is, I mean, I'm obviously for the schools. But I'm just wondering, does this set some kind of negative precedent for unconscientious builders to just build something according to how they see fit, how they want, and then demap as needed later on to fit actual conditions?
I would like to believe that that is not the case. I think that this is really a true one-off in that it was city-owned land already, and it was reassigned for construction of very much-needed schools. And I think it was just a miscommunication amongst the various parties. Obviously, it wasn't private citizens; it was all city agencies involved here. And we are now coming to you to try to correct what we thought had already been corrected.
Yeah, I guess it means it's, well, because it's not going to revert back to original. So if everybody says, no, this can't happen, then it just remains an inconsistency between reality and city mapping.
That's sort of true. It also would prevent us from closing out the project, which we, being that we educate children, we like to dot our I's, cross our T's, get all permits in a row and close out our projects so that they are
I see, got it.
and healthy.
Thank you. Thank you. That's helpful. Thank you.
Okay. Sunil, any questions?
No question.
Okay. Carol, any questions?
No questions.
Okay, thank you. All right, that's all of the board members. One board member did ask if we could get a copy of their presentation, a digital copy to be distributed to the board members later.
Gail or Philip, would that be okay?
Philip, it's your document, so I don't want to speak for you.
No, that's fine.
Okay, perfect. We also have another question here. Maybe Gail or Philip can answer. Linda Carell said that if you're demapping the entire street, will this affect other properties on that street that are not city owned to do construction, I guess is allowed more than there is now?
Philip, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that the application is only really covering the as-built conditions of the two schools and I think a few other buildings that predate the construction of the schools.
Yes, there are 7 other private property owners that the mapped portion of street encroaches on their private property. So it removes the cloud from their property because they could no longer expand into it. So this is a benefit for them as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Okay, so I believe we're done with questions. We're going to, thank you, Gail. Thank you, Philip. We're going to be moving on. And we're going to
Thank you very much for your time this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
We're going to be addressing this in ULIP committee a little later. Okay, so now we're actually going to be going on to committee reports. So we're going to be going with Consumer Affairs.
Okay, that's Alex. Alex?
Nothing to report.
Okay.
Thank you. Environmental?
Oscar is not on.
Okay, he's not here. And Health Committee?
Ashley?
Yes, we met last week. We had a presentation from the New York City Test and Trace Corps, and we learned about the different methods of testing and the testing options that are available here. And we also learned how we can get involved if we ever decided to run our own testing site in the future. And all members attended the meeting.
Thank you, Ashley. And Parks?
Okay. Gregory? Gregory, you there?
So
can you hear me now?
There you go.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Sorry, there's a ton of noise outside my window thanks to Con Edison and their monopoly. Parks Committee report, I'll just lead off with a few things that were passed along from Janice Melnick related to Flushing Meadows Corona Park when I asked for more transparency, since we never find out about things until the groundbreaking or the day of. So this one was you know, in the news, but just as for those that didn't see it, they did complete phase 1 of the Fountain of the Fairs capital project. They adaptively turned the reflecting pool into a mist fountain. Unfortunately, they've winterized it right now, so we have that to look forward to in the spring of 2021. I don't know if Christian will be speaking about more details of this because I have a little bit of info, but there's going to be a leaf giveaway compost demo on December 19th. Letitia Williams and Christian sort of spoke about that. He can fill in some of the gaps, but you know, that's been something that you know has long been something we've pushed for in terms of both environmental education and you know, connection to community gardens. And there's a whole host of things that you know, really feel that's a strong positive for our neighborhood in terms of getting people to understand composting and why it's important. And there are continued stewardship events happening this winter, so you can go to allianceforfmcp.org to find out about that. I'll just give a recap briefly of the latest Community Advisory Board meeting for Flushing Meadows Corona Park. Special thank you to the board members on my committee that showed up to that meeting. I really appreciate that, as well as several people from the community that came to the Parks Committee meeting in advance of that. We talked a lot about you know, issues that are in the park and how to address those. Again, getting back to what I was saying, you know, at the onset of the disconnect happening between city agencies and the public, I'm working very hard to get answers on that. And, you know, I'm not afraid to ask the tough questions as it relates to why we're not getting answers. Obviously, the parks are seeing a lot of tree lightings right now. So please go support those in a socially distant manner, and of course wear your mask. I will say on the subject of masks, I still see people coming to the park with their children and not wearing masks. And as adults, you know, we have to be the example. I can attest that it's not easy to get kids to wear masks, but they do it. You know, with a lot of persistence. So we need to be setting the example. Just because you're outside doesn't mean you're immune to the virus. And I will be looking to have a parks meeting some point in December. That makes it a little challenging with the holidays, but more on that to come. Thanks.
Thank you, Gregory.
So Marilena, and if I may just jump in. So Greg, elaborate a little bit more on what we discussed, what you mentioned about the leaf composting thing. So it's a twofold thing. The first thing is Letitia Williams, who is one of the managers of Flushing Meadows Corona Park. There's one thing that Flushing Meadows Corona has plenty of, it's leaves. Obviously, you know, the amount of trees that they have down there. So what they'd like to do is do a composting event where all those leaves can be used for something positive. So what they'd like to do is take a substantial amount of these leaves and drop them off at all the local community gardens with the intention of teaching the public community how to compost, how to use leaves for compost. As you guys will know, we have two very active community gardens, both of them in Corona. The first one is the Corona Taxpayers Garden on 102nd and about 52nd Ave, and the other one is the Sparrow's Nest Community Garden down by Louis Simeon Park. About a 102nd and something along. I can't give you the exact address. So the idea is right now we are tentatively, although it seems somewhat firmly set for December 19th. The event again tentatively is set for somewhere between 11 and 2, and there's not really much to it. X amount of leaves along with bags will be dropped off at each one of the gardens, both of them, and we'll be handing out pamphlets as well as a small demonstration for anybody who comes. People can come by, grab some compost, take some leaves home. This is what you do with it, and that's the general plan. While I am on the subject of community gardens, and as you said, Gregory, lack of response on behalf of the Parks Department, you guys will know that we've been talking about the garden also in Corona, down on Van Cleef and West Side Avenue here in Corona. And I call it a garden because it's set to be one. Years back, we actually co-sponsored and we co-signed on the application to make that property into community garden. It was identified by a local community group. It is DCAS property. It's owned by DOT, but the property is somewhat small and there's very little that can actually be built on it. We began the process. It didn't really get very far. Excuse me, it got very far and that was approved and it did meet all the parameters. Green Thumb was working with us and then I want to say COVID happened. And since then, the response from parks has been somewhat dormant. We reached out to the commissioner, we reached out to Green Thumb and we're not getting anything. And I softly, and I don't want to use the word, but we threatened to just take over the garden once and for all. The land is there. Everybody knows that a lot of community gardens are built just like that. You find a piece of vacant city land, we do something on it. Eventually, the city will want its property back, but until then, it's still up for grabs. So, with that being said, we are staging, at the very least, we'll use the term very loosely, we're staging a soft takeover of the property. There is a piece of land there. It is fenced off. It's very small. Again, nothing will be built on it. The community wants it. We already have our name on it. Their name is on it. We just need the parks to get past all the red tape and the admin portion of things. So there's nothing to stop us, and local community groups are willing to do the work to get out there and at the very least start leveling it. I've already spoken to some of our city agencies. We've spoken to several volunteer groups. It is building up a lot of steam. If all goes well, I can get it done as early as this Saturday. And the reason I'm bringing that up now is because we also would like that some of those leaves be dropped off at that soon-to-be garden as well on the 19th. The leaves will get dropped over there. We'll cover with a tarp. We'll put a sign on it saying, do not touch. Not that anybody will, but do not touch. These are our leaves for the future community garden coming over here. And at the very least, we put a shovel into the ground, so to speak, until the parks comes through. And if the park doesn't come through, we'll still continue. They'll have property back from us eventually. So the property is in Corona. It's on Van Cleef on West Side Avenue. It's a small, almost unmapped street of Corona behind Empanadas del Parque, just off of Van Cleef Street. And again, once I have the information on both events, a quote unquote takeover of this property, as well as the composting event on the 19th, I'll reach out to you all. But as of right now, if you guys are free on both Saturdays, this one and the next coming, by all means, please keep us in mind because we'd love to have the help and put some shovels into the ground to start leveling this thing so we can hopefully have it open by Earth Day. As you guys know, I take seriously and I'd love to do it. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Christian.
We got it.
Next up, transportation.
Okay. Linda?
The Transportation Committee met on this week to discuss two things. The first thing was the co-naming in honor of Jim Galloway. I believe it was 57th Avenue and 99th Street. Christian can correct me if that's not right. Our committee, met with or heard one of the community members who proposed it. Talk through, some of the history and the community, activism that Jim Galloway was involved in. And we did have a vote and agreed that our committee would recommend the co-naming of the street. That was the first item. The second item was related to the renewal of the taxi livery company called NY Mexicana. And they completed our survey, answered our questions, I think, to our satisfactory. And our committee again voted and to recommend the approval of this renewal. And essentially, they do already have a license, but they were just moving locations, and so going through, I think, the formality of the process. So those were the two new items. By way of update, wanted to get back to some of the comments that Gregory made earlier about, I believe, 41st Avenue and 78th Street. We did get a response back from DOT, and if I could just read it quickly. They did have their pedestrian projects group out, and they conducted an analysis of both areas. With regard to 41st Avenue and 78th Street, he says, this location is an all-ways stop and seems rather standard. The crash data was low here, and the intersection is very basic, standard T plus a driveway. The markings are in good condition, and the signs are relatively new. Here he's asking for additional context around concerns, and I was going to suggest that if we could form a small working group, maybe in the next meeting, anyone who would like to join, Gregory certainly, and we could discuss further about how to continue the conversation with DOT. He goes on to say, design-wise, it appears to work fine. If there's illegal parking or non-compliance with the stop regulations, that should be routed to the police department. The second intersection that they analyzed, Whitney Avenue and Judge Street, he says, another standard intersection, but with a school safety crosswalk on the northeast leg. This crossing could probably be upgraded to be on both legs of the intersection or removed entirely. I would obviously push for both sides having crosswalks. The location has the correct signage on it, which is in good condition, as are the markings. The pedestrian ramps here were recently upgraded and are in good condition. Since those ramps are ADA compliant, it might be a light fit to install the signage and markings if school safety wanted to, and he will follow up with them. The presence of the fire hydrant means that we wouldn't even need to remove parking for one of the daylighting treatments. The counts might be a challenge to get, though, as it's pretty low traffic intersection, there isn't a super logical pattern of people turning off on 43rd Avenue onto Judge and then continuing west. Otherwise, both locations are 90-degree intersections, which is ideal and are not complex in any way. The streets themselves are on the narrow side. Essentially, we probably wouldn't make adjustments with these, and he'll follow up with school safety about Whitney and Judge and see what they think about adding the crosswalk by the park. So this is something that we could have continued conversations about at our next meeting, probably sometime in January or February. I don't think I have any other updates. I don't know if Matt wants to add anything.
I would, the only thing I might add is it sounds from what Gregory said at the top of the meeting that his concern is 79th Street and DOT was looking at 78th Street. So I think the idea that we get together and have a little chat, or Linda and Gregory for sure, I'd be happy to be in it, and maybe go back to DOT sounds like a reasonable thing to do. But I think it's a conversation should take place, not in the meeting here, but just in a smaller group.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Anything else, Linda or Matt, or that's it for transportation?
I think that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Linda. Okay, next up, public safety.
Okay. Lucy, you're unmuted.
Okay, we had our meeting, Lisa, and I'm very proud of all the members that made it that evening. I just want to let you know that the CERT teams throughout the city were distributing PPE at the orange and yellow zoned areas and are continuing to do so now. I asked a few questions from the officers, and they sent me this because they couldn't make it to our meeting, but I asked if any of the officers or staff has come down with COVID-19, being that we're going into our second phase. As of now, there is none, so I hope it stays that way. I also got some reports. We had filed in to the police department locations that we know were not keeping with the COVID rules. And the sheriff department, and it was in the news already, for Coco Restaurant, which is 4015 Junction Boulevard in Corona, and the Music Box at 74th Street in Elmhurst were both closed by the Sheriff's Department for overcrowded people that were sharing beers, sharing marijuana, and especially sharing hookahs. The capacity was over 75 people when they closed them down. Unfortunately, they may have to reopen again. As you know, they may pay the fines, they may not, but they're fighting this now. But at least we can take some control over those that are not following the COVID rules. I asked about the Roosevelt Avenue Task Force. They work jointly at 82nd Street and Roosevelt Avenue. Some of the problematic problems are prostitution, and that was one thing that you just recently handled. I'm hoping they'll cover other areas along Roosevelt that I gave them, and we'll see where it goes. I also asked about the amount, what it costs to give out summonses, like how much is it for social distancing or noise, and they really were very vague about it. They normally add it as a small amount when they work with SLA, the Health Department, Consumer Affairs. My next question will be for the next month, are they paying the summonses? We give out all the summonses, we ask them to go to court, but are they really paying? Sometimes I go to court and I'll notice they're not that high. They fight them on the price, and meanwhile, they wind up doing the same thing all over again. So that's something we'll discuss in the future meetings. The next thing I asked was about the graffiti materials. They are so low on material for graffiti, and they're asking our help again, or if any of the politicians are hearing tonight, they are desperately in need of that. As you can tell, the area is growing with graffiti. I have to say, I thank Christian again. We've been asking about murals, and I have to thank Clara Salas because she pushed for the idea, and he's working with the artist about putting these murals up, which is a great idea. But in the interim, being it was so large, we could use some extra funding for the precinct to get some material to fight graffiti. We also asked about getting the highway safety unit in about e-bikes, which are going to be pretty much covering our streets. And I asked about the enforcement. They haven't gotten all the details yet, but hopefully at their next meeting, we can discuss that. And after this, we went into the liquor licenses. I'm hoping that when they start opening up their outdoor cafe, they'll understand that they can't break the rule when it comes to COVID. There are some that have. We emphasized again that they have to think about the community that they're working in. We're predominantly a residential community, and it's the complaints for noise and non-compliance is still high. So they said they will work with us. I hope they do. And that's the end of my my commitment for this liquor license.
Thank you so much, Lucy.
Okay.
Marilyn, can I just get left at 30 seconds really quickly?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll go on what Lucy was saying. Yes, Lucy, we do know that the precinct needs money, or rather, the precinct needs money to paint. So I've already been and Seminary, and we will be using some of the funds that we have to give to the precinct for this. Those who know that we're trying to push like for a graffiti replacement project, instead of the community board giving paint to the precinct every year for them to put up a canvas, more graffiti to go up, we're just going to try to have it replaced with graffiti. There's one thing we have plenty of, it's graffiti and artists. So the current one right now is...
Come on, Tabitha.
Hello?
Okay, someone's not muted. Please mute yourself if you're not speaking. Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it, guys. I don't want to bug the meeting. I really don't want to get into the 9:30 range. But you know, we are working the precinct. The mirror project is continuing. We ran into a small issue in that some of the items are back ordered, but the truth is the artist is actually in school right now, and she said that she wasn't ready to start until she ended. Which hopefully everything goes well. Should be this week. We've already reached out to the art supply store to give us a couple of what's the word I'm looking for? Replacements to the items that were unavailable, but we're very much good to go with that mural. And once that one begins, this will be the beginning of the CB4 quote unquote mural replacement project, which I'd like to make more official, you know, and maybe it's a good thing to get a working group for something like this as well. But the truth is, rest comforted that the precinct has already been reached out to, and I'm just waiting for a list of supplies that they need so we can get them some paint and start getting some graffiti cleanups done. Thanks.
Thank you, Christian. Okay, next up, Euler. Alton, I know we're going to be, we can't vote, we don't have a quorum, but I know we can, I guess, make a recommendation. So Alton, take the floor.
Okay. Well, we all see that we have three applications. They're straightforward. But there's also the fourth item that we tabled from our last meeting, and that's the landmark status application for Juana Borowski Polish Heroes Way House. Marilyn, is that something that you can talk about with us? Because we also need a letter of recommendation for that as well.
Yeah, sure. So the Yanta Pushinsky residence in Elmhurst, that's something that came to the board, I believe, 2 months ago for a street co-naming. And we gave a recommendation to co-name the street for Alexander and Valentina Yanta Pushinsky. They're two Polish nationals who were World War II heroes. And Valentina, she was actually she was ahead of her time as a woman. I would call her a woman hero. She saved so many lives by announcing to Poland about the concentration camps. So it's a very important historic site to the Polish American community, and Polish history. And we don't have a landmark in New York City that's directly related to the Holocaust. So the Elmhurst History and Preservation Cemeteries Society, they put a landmark application in, and basically are asking for support to support this landmark application. That's basically it. If anyone has any questions, of course, I can answer.
Does anyone have any questions? Okay, so then we're looking for a letter of recommendation for the 4 items mentioned in the 3 presentations earlier. I think they're straightforward. I believe 4 questions was asked about that. I think at this moment, do we need to take a vote, or is there just a letter of recommendation, Christian? How do we handle it?
Yeah, I think it would be a letter of recommendation, right, Christian? Because there's not a quorum.
Yeah, I mean, again, no quorum. I don't know, guys. It's a gray area. I don't know. We can say, and again, the only way you can get away with this, and again, it's if we ask the board members right now if they have any questions or concerns, and again, the letter will just be something like that. We can say, while there was no quorum, those present were in favor of it, but again, it's a very gray area, guys. I don't know. The lack of quorum is a real issue for us on this one, and all our items for that, because we can't even formally vote on the street co-naming for Jim Galloway. Excuse me.
Now, Christian, is there any way any of these items can be moved to next meeting, or any of them have a time frame?
All right. So with the exception of the 44th Avenue demapping, everything can move on to the next meeting. The street co-naming can come at any time. The Jim Galloway street co-naming. The city council votes twice per year. Once, I believe, I could be wrong on this. I know that one of them, I believe, is April. The other one may be December. Christina, if you know any better, somebody knows better, by all means, please let me know. It's not, again, a co-naming is something you really need to rush. It gets voted on again twice per year. If we don't do a co-naming this meeting, that's okay. The Young House, the same thing, Marilyn. I don't know where we go with a time frame on that, but the only item that right now is sitting on a clock of any kind is the 44th Avenue demapping, because that's going to be presented to the borough president within the next week or 2, I believe. But everything else is questionable and can, in fact, so far as I know, be moved on.
Well, Kristen, we do have a deadline on the application that was presented tonight, except for BSA. BSA requires something from us, because that application cannot move forward with BSA unless the board gives the applicant something to take.
Yeah, no, thank you for the correction. Again, I guess it's a gray area. I don't know, guys. It's not going to be a legit board recommendation, so to speak. It's a little check, like I say, we approve, because it's an actual form we have to fill out. I believe that once the form isn't there, it's not going to be acknowledged. But at the very least, we did our due diligence, and not to what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not going to say disavow, but not acknowledge the members that are here. You guys should be acknowledged, and your opinion should matter. We can certainly give a letter of recommendation, but it'll be very clearly stated that this was done without a quorum, and that those present had opposition or did not have any position, or that the following concerns were brought up, and that you guys may proceed as planned, so long as you take our concerns into consideration. It's not a legit legal response as is needed required, but it's something. At least it shows that it was presented to us and that we facilitated by responding. So Yeah, it's a gray area, but we can certainly do a recommendation with the results.
So, Alton, we can table the anything that I guess we can go, bring over to next meeting, like the Yonta House. If it's not going to count, why make a recommendation? But anything that has to be voted on tonight, I think we should do a recommendation at least.
Okay, that we can do. For the other items, we definitely need something. And I think, Kristen, you're very clear about that. The letter of recommendation clearly to state that we didn't have the quorum, but this was the response.
Correct, and there like an item, for example, like Linda's committee met a couple of days ago, and they did have a quorum. So in the letter that if we choose to proceed with, let's say, the street co-naming, we can say the board didn't have a quorum, but the committee did have a quorum, and the committee did meet. And again, the committee would be speaking on behalf of the entire board / community, so it's still a gray area. But if we put in there that the committee put a recommendation in addition to a soft board recommendation without a quorum, it might hold more weight. But again, guys, we're treading on gray area here. I'm just it's the best I can advise you on.
Okay, Alton. So I guess we'll go back to Linda in a bit. But Alton, what do you want to do with your committee?
I would say we can wait for the Java House for next month, since that's not something that we're looking at in terms of deadline. But in terms of the other items, we could do a letter of recommendation for the 82-11. They would need something for BSA would need something. I don't know how BSA would look at a letter of from us that doesn't have a quorum. The applicants could definitely contact us and let us know that they're willing to wait until there's a full quorum, and we could then give a full documented letter on it with the board approval. That's the only way I can see this at this time, if that makes sense.
So that's for 8211, right?
Right.
Yeah, to be clear, the applicant is not right. Christina, is Nazir still here? Maybe
No, I think they left.
Okay, all right, then never mind. Sorry about that.
Yeah, they left.
Okay, I'll recommendation.
Okay. Okay.
Are we gonna do a roll call vote? I mean, we already did. We didn't do a roll call vote, so to speak, but we did ask questions. We did ask questions from board members who had any questions or opposition. I don't know if a second roll call vote is necessary to do the letter recommendation. Again, we're treading on the unknown waters here, so if you guys want to handle it, guys, I can't really say much to that.
Oh, Lucy has something to say. She's raising her hand.
Okay.
Lucy, is it about?
I would write the letter, because we'll be at this all night. Write a letter, tell them that we know the situation. We unfortunately, it was a long night or whatever, but the majority that was present was in favor of it. Can they, just draft it in a way that explains what we're up against, but the majority, which it is, we had a lot of people here tonight.
Right.
And I would just draft a letter, and I'm sure they'll take it. This is not a major problem where it's imposing a lot on the community. That's all the projects tonight. We're not worrying about a big building going up and such. So I would like to state on file that we should write a letter and go from there.
Alton, I mean, all 4 items, if you want, we could do the letter, just a recommendation like Lucy was saying, which is a good idea. If you're okay with it, Alton, it's your committee, so.
I think it's a good idea because we're under the deadline. There's nothing else that we can do. We explain what the situation is, and we're working under COVID-19 restrictions.
Right, because if you think about it, next could have the same issue. So you want to, we've discussed everything tonight. If you want to go ahead, your call, and I'm okay with it.
Okay, so I would definitely say on the zoning for flooding and 44th Avenue demapping, we could do a letter of recommendation. BSA Again, that would be left up to, I'm thinking that would be left up to the applicant. We can say yes, if it doesn't work, then the applicant can come back and say they're gonna have to wait until the next board meeting.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, and if you want to do the same thing for the Yonka house, that's fine too. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right.
So,
Perfect.
okay. Okay, that works.
Yeah, that works. I mean, like you said, if they have anything, they can always come back to us, and we would have to bring it back up as a board. So that's fine.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank
That's
you.
it. Thank you, Alton. And then Christian, do you want to do the same thing with Linda, or do you want to ask Linda? Oh, you're on mute, Christian. Christian, you're muted. We can't hear you.
Sorry.
We can't hear Christian. Okay.
There you go. Okay, cool. Yeah, it was on the delay. No, Linda's item, and again, the Georgiana, or excuse me, the Jim Galloway item is not something that has to be rushed. I wouldn't rush it. We can wait for a quorum. I don't even know if the city council voted yet. And if not, look, guys, the truth is that street.
I believe it happened either in October or November. So we're going to be waiting for the spring for the next one. So we're fine with that.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's usually April and October.
There you go. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought December. So it's April and October. We are good. So long as we have it in before April, we're okay, and that gives us plenty of time. So we're good with that. Okay. Okay. So yeah, moving on.
I think Mary Elena just got, I think something happened.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, look, so for what it's worth, we are running a little bit like pretty late on this one. So once she gets back, I think we should look to wrap up. We just got a text of, asking to adjourn. I think it's time to kind of end the meeting soon. We're giving like another minute or two until Marilena comes back, and if not, Ashley, you may take over and just continue it if that's okay. As a matter of fact, Ashley, you know what? Let's just take over right away. Let's not even wait a minute. Ashley, can you please close off the meeting or at least continue it to where we were?
Mary Elena's back.
I'm actually, you do hear me? I'm back.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on. This web is acting so weird tonight. Okay, so we're done with youth. Everything's done?
Yeah,
Okay,
youth
perfect.
has nothing. Youth is not here. They have nothing going on. They did meet. We're trying to bring that artist group to the community to bring like some therapeutic art camps. We already met. Wonderful presentation by this group called Artists Making Changes. We're just waiting to hear from them to see when we can get a nice workshop going for therapeutic art camps in the community. I think Marilena come on again.
I think we're ready to adjourn. Okay, can you hear me now or no?
Yeah, we hear you.
Anything else?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, so we're all set. Thank you, everyone. Sorry we ran over tonight. We had a lot to go over. Happy holidays, everyone.
Okay, guys, we'll see you in January. Thanks for everything. Thanks for all you do. You guys are the best.
Thank you.